The president of the Oxford Union is a big name. And you have a beautiful office with many, many old books and old photos. Congratulations on being the president of the Oxford Union. What's been the highlight of your this time?
Firstly, thank you so much for your kind words. There's been so many highlights. I don't know if I could just isolate one thing that's been the highlight, but I've had so many great speaker events. We had Michael Sandel visit, who was
Michael Sandel. Wow.
so fascinating. We had Sir Richard Evans, who came to speak as well, who's one of my favourite historians. And we have a few highlights coming up. Next week we have Anna Wintour coming, who's going to be incredible, I'm sure, and Buzz Aldrin at the end of term. Also, we've had so many interesting debates that have sparked a lot of discussion in the Oxford student community and the wider community at large. We had a debate on "This House believes feminism has been hijacked by white middle class women," which was sort of very engaging for the students population, because it's a topic a lot of students feel strongly about. And we also had a debate on "This House believes the United States is institutionally racist," and "This House would introduce quotas for Oxford State School admissions." And I feel personally quite strongly about that, because I was from a comprehensive state school myself, so that's an issue close to my heart. But I think probably the thing I'm proudest of during my time at the Union is changing the way the elections are run at the Union. This is the first time the elections were changed in 16 years.
How do you manage to balance the demands of the Oxford Union with your studies?
So as president, I've taken a year out of my studies. I've suspended my status as a student. So we're now in Hillary term. I took Michaelmas off to prepare for the Union. So I invited a lot of speakers during that time, thought about debate ideas and social ideas too. And so I couldn't do my studies at the same time. And during Hillary term, being president, there's so much going on from all the events that the Union hosts. So it's a full-time job, so I don't do my studies. However, when I've been involved in the Union previously doing various other positions, I was both secretary and treasurer. It was incredibly difficult because the demands of an Oxford degree are very high. You have a tutor who's expecting an amazing essay each week. So I just had to be really on the ball with time management and being quite efficient and working really hard in the library instead of talking to my friends.
What do you think about Harold Macmillan's description of the Oxford Union as the last bastion of free speech in the Western world?
I don't think the Union is that lonely last bastion of free speech in the Western world nowadays, but I think it's as important as ever to promote free speech, and the Union's role in this is crucial. It's a place where we spark debate, we allow speakers to talk on controversial issues. The Union was founded in 1823 to discuss issues that the university didn't want to talk about, such as religion and politics, and we pride ourselves on that tradition, on continuing discussing issues that people might think are controversial. We don't seek controversy for controversy's sake. However, we like to ask, the leaders from all ends of the political spectrum, be they from politics to economics or show business, the most difficult questions to ask them. And I think the Union's place in promoting free speech is still at the forefront of society.
So actually, Oxford Union is not part of the Oxford University, so people are confused sometimes. Yeah. So there is the Oxford University Student Union.
Yeah.
But actually, Oxford Union is better known for some reason.
Well, we're completely separate. So you have the Oxford University Student Union that looks after the welfare of students, and they do some amazing things within the universities and run incredible campaigns. And we try and organise events sometimes with them, such as the Mind Your Head campaign. We had Stephen Fry speak last term on sort of mental health issues, but we're completely separate from the university. University, because we pride ourselves on inviting speakers that are incredibly diverse. Sometimes certain elements of the student population might not want a speaker to come, but we think it's important to have a debate and ask those speakers questions.
How did you deal with the controversy surrounding the invitation earlier this term to Marine Le Pen?
So I think it's best to talk about the process of inviting Marine Le Pen in the first instance. We thought it was important to ask Marine Le Pen to come and speak at the Oxford Union because in 2012 she received almost 6.5 million votes from the French population. She came third in the elections, and she's sort of the largest French party in the European Parliament. So she is a sort of a political leader on the world stage, and in light of the Charlie Hebdo incident, we thought that she would be a very key speaker at the Union this term. The invitation itself attracted a lot of controversy, but what we do, we pride ourselves on free speech and having the opportunity to debate with speakers. Whilst you might not agree with the speaker's view, the Union gives you the opportunity to ask that speaker a challenging question. I myself don't agree with Marine Le Pen's views, but I had the opportunity to ask her 3 very critical questions, which included, after the events of Charlie Hebdo, how would you respond to the accusation that you're using these events for political gain and scaremongering? I also asked her that in her memoirs, she said that her father was the man that shaped her life because he transmitted his values to her. And I said, did these values include Holocaust denial? So they were quite sort of challenging questions. My mother actually was living in France at the time. She is Algerian. My family are all from Algeria. And I have a lot of cousins and aunties living in France at the time. So they themselves wish they could have been here to ask her some very damning questions. And I think it's just incredibly important to always challenge ideas and have the opportunity to challenge leaders that might be sort of making decisions on a country's behalf.
It must have been very emotional to you.
I think it was a challenging event in itself. The event attracted protest, and I think it was good that there was protest because it allowed people to have the opportunity to voice their opinions. So I think it was a very interesting experience, and I'm still glad the event went ahead.
Many former Oxford Union officials have gone on to careers in politics. Do you have political ambitions yourself?
So it's funny actually, because once I was elected, I got calls from my friends and my family asking me, when are you going to make the run for Prime Minister? But as of yet, I have no sort of clear sort of aim to becoming politically involved, but I wouldn't rule it out. I think,
never say never.
Exactly. Yeah. I think today's politicians get an incredibly hard time, and some are doing incredible jobs in their various sectors and trying to change things for society for the better. And there are certain issues I feel incredibly strongly about, such as education, and I think politics is a means to change things, but I think before then I will try other avenues, so maybe ask me in 20 years' time. Okay,
we'll remember that. I thoroughly enjoyed attending the debate about Vladimir Putin. How do you go about organizing such a debate?
So it takes actually quite a lot of work to organise the debate. So I spent the entire vacation here. I only took 2 days off over Christmas to see my family, and during that time we organised 7 debates. The Putin debate in particular, the process that we go through is we draw up a list of speakers that we think are sort of the most in the know about the subject. So, and we also try and look for diversity in background. So we look for people from academia, journalism, it might be the economy, or they might have sort of had a personal experience to the topic. The topic in question, this house believes Putin is building an empire. We look to try and get representatives from Russia itself, but that was unfortunately not the case, that we were able to achieve this. But we managed to get a fantastic Ukrainian politician. We also try and get students to speak in our debates also. So we look for students who have a particular expertise in that area. So Molly McParlin spoke in our debate, and she's doing her MPhil on Russia. So she was a real expert in that field. So we spend a long time sort of thinking about who are the best speakers, and then we send invitations, formal invitations to them, personally sort of requesting that they come and speak in our debates. And if we're fortunate enough, they accept, and we have a really sort of engaging and insightful debate on the issue.
It was a great honor for us to be invited, and especially Ambassador Im and two journalists.
Yeah.
They were shocked when they saw the house. You know, it was packed.
Yes, it's.
Yeah. Is it like that all the time?
So yeah, our debates are very popular because I think they happen once a week, and sort of the whole of the student community, you get a wide spectrum of people coming, if they're, you know, first year undergraduates to people doing their PhDs, or SBS students doing their masters in business. So we do get a really healthy turnout for all our debates, because what we try and do, and what I tried to do this term, is have them on topics that the student community feel quite strongly about. So Putin was a sort of a very relevant topic, not only just for the student community but in the world today. The feminism debate was again something that people felt very strongly about and interested in.
What's next for you after you step down as the president?
So I've had quite a lot of sort of various opportunities to what I want to do after I've stepped down. I've got Trinity off, next term off, and I don't have to return to my studies until October, so that's a long time off. But the most exciting opportunity that I am looking to pursue is to work for Afghan Aid. So an incredible organisation that helps to promote education in Afghanistan, and particularly help women to raise the pre-university level of education within the country. There's also sort of an opportunity to work for the Strategic Institute for Dialogue. So that's another incredibly exciting opportunity to sort of help promote dialogue between countries and promote education, which is a topic I feel incredibly strongly about, and create ties between Britain and other countries in the world.
Thank you very much for being with us, Voices from Oxford.
Thank you so
very
much. Thank you.